Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Jan Lewis, welcome to be my guest. Today we have J.E. Morris with us, and she is a children's author. Maud the Koala series, and is this cute? Fish are not afraid of doctors. That's the first one. You got little ones at home. Were you afraid of doctors, Jennifer? Were you?
These are based on my daughter.
Your daughter, how old is she?
She's 20 now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so she's a little over it.
Okay.
But
And then too much birthday. Too much food.
too many people.
Too many people, too. Yeah. These are so cute. Not only does she write these, but she illustrates them. Because when she came in, I said, wow, most self-published authors they get to do this, but because she illustrates and writes both of her children's books, the publishing house allowed her to pick to do the covers, which is awesome. Jennifer is from Lunenburg. She came down here to visit with us today, and my favorite was Fish Are Not Afraid of Doctors, because when I was a kid, that was a biggie. That was a biggie, and to get a shot was probably the end of my life.
Yeah,
just wouldn't let my parents off the hook. Am I going to get a shot? Am I going to get a shot? I didn't trust any of them. I just said, oh, no. When did you start? First of all, you started a long while back writing, didn't you, for children's books, Scholastic?
Yeah, I started as an illustrator back about 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was a computer programmer.
What a difference.
So, yeah, I went to school for computer science. I have a couple degrees in computers. I was a database analyst. But then when my daughter was born, we made the decision for me to stay at home with her. And I always wanted to be an illustrator. That was kind of my dream job, was to illustrate. Yeah. And not that you have a lot of time when you have tiny babies at home.
Oh, I know. I got a son only 6 years older than your daughter.
Okay. Well, you have a little time during naps and...
Preschool.
Preschool is a good thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I would work the midnight shift, and I put a portfolio together.
Overnight at home? You would work at home?
When the kids would go to bed, I would start working, and I'd work on my portfolio.
When did you sleep? Well, you caught a nap during the day.
Sometimes.
How long ago was this, Jennifer?
Well, she's 20 now, so 20 years ago.
You started it back then. Did you know you were good at drawing?
That's what I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when anyone asked me when I was a little tiny kid, what do you want to do when you grow up?
All right, now look at this. This is Maud the Koala, and she made this koala. It looks store-bought, it looks perfection. But she made this koala. Do you do presentations and book signings? Do you bring this with you?
Oh, absolutely.
I'll bet the kids flip.
Yeah, we raffled one off. We're going to raffle off a couple more. I made a few of them because we ended up... But I have a really big one that I put on my table.
You've got a bigger one?
Oh, the first one I made was kind of out of control. It's huge.
That's okay. This... You're a sewer as well.
Yeah, I used to sew a lot. Haven't done it much lately, but I used to really enjoy sewing. So
and it goes so well with Maud the Koala, the two books that you've written about Maud. Are there going to be more in the series?
I hope so.
You think so? How long does it take you to write each one?
Oh, it depends. Sometimes stories come to you. I'm sure you probably know this too. It's like when you're doing creative things, like you hear about musicians who, I wrote that song in a night.
Yeah.
And, sometimes stories come really, really fast, and other times they come in drips and dribbles.
A wonderful, we're going to put Maud right here for you.
Okay.
How did you come up with the idea for Maud the Koala?
That's easy. It's my daughter. She had a lot of anxieties when she was little.
Yeah.
And she was my first, so I was a new mom, and I had this little girl who had all these anxieties, and I didn't know what to do. I felt bad. I could see her struggling. And now, I'm not that I'm a perfect mother, but I've had a little more experience, and there's things I would do differently, and this is kind of to help those kids who now have anxiety.
Where were you when I was little?
Yeah, these were the books I wished I had for her when she was little.
Right on the back of Maud the Koala, Fish are not afraid of doctors. Let me read this to you. Maud is nervous while at the doctor's office for a checkup. Aren't we all? So when she sees a fish tank in the waiting room, my doctor has one, she wishes she could swim around inside it too. After all, fish don't need shots. Can Maud's fish fantasy help her face her fears? And it's beautifully written. Did you know you had that talent with the illustrating when you were a kid? Did you ever know?
I was always drawing as a kid.
Always drawing.
Always, yeah. I wanted to go to art school. I wanted to be an illustrator. I wanted to be Norman Rockwell. That's what I always...
But instead, you went into, what did you say? Engineering?
Computer science.
Computer science.
Yeah.
So you went from computer science to writing and illustrating. That's a
Yes.
jump.
Well,
Kind of, isn't it?
all my artwork is done on the computer. It's all digital.
Yeah.
So I did take some of my background in computer science, and I hadn't done graphics, but I had done art, and I'd always taken art classes everywhere I could. I minored in art in college and studied at Chautauqua Institute for a summer, and I took every art class I could get my hands on.
Where'd
basically.
you go to college?
University of Pittsburgh,
I went
Bradford
to,
campus.
From the state, up in New Hampshire, part of the University of New Hampshire, and I majored in art. Didn't really do anything professionally with it,
Oh,
but
wow.
I love the way she does these stories. They're like not just one page and you see a picture, but they're sort of, I don't want to say comic book form, but
Yep.
would you say that?
Oh, yeah.
This seems to be the rage now. A lot of them, especially for the teens, the fantasy books.
Yeah.
And, well, now here's one big one.
Yeah, we tried to do it's kind of in a graphic novel style, but I really pushed to make it so it still read like a storybook.
Yeah.
Because my son, when he was little, always wanted me to read him comic books at bedtime, and it's kind of painful to read those at story time because there's no dialogue tags. There's no, you had to make up, oh no, said Spider-Man, or whoever the character was, and either that or you're pointing to the speech bubbles because it was just strings of dialogue. So I really...
How old is your son now?
Oh, he's going to be 17 this month.
Okay. So these books, how old were they when you got your first books out on Maud the Koala?
Well, Maud the Koala just came out.
Okay.
That just came out in the spring. My very first book came out in 2005.
Is this the one right here for Scholastic?
Yes, this is my very
I Want a Cookie?
May I please have a cookie? Yes, that was my very first book. And I don't know if it was kind of a strange way that this got published.
Level 1 reader.
Yes, a level 1 reader.
Scholastic.
Yes.
May I please have a cookie? And it's a gator.
Yes, Alfie the alligator. It was an interesting thing because I had never illustrated, coming from where I came from, which was, programming, I had never illustrated a book, but I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So no one was going to hire me to illustrate their book unless I could demonstrate that I could do that sort of artwork.
Right.
Because illustrating for a picture book is not the same as making paintings to go on the wall.
Sure.
You have to take that character through different poses, different emotions, and I wanted to be able to show that.
Yeah.
So I told myself, I was like, well, let's just do a little wordless picture book, like a little sketched up book, just so I could show publishers that I can do this sort of work.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I made this little book. I thought, oh, I'll just come up with a little story. How hard can that be? It took a long time. It took me a really long time.
And
to
for
come up with
Scholastic to accept Scholastic, they're fantastic.
Well, so I made, this is what I made. I made this little wordless picture book just to go in my portfolio.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law he's an author. He writes nonfiction, adult, economic books, books about the Industrial Revolution, about, the stock market crash. He writes about that sort of thing. But he has an agent. And he saw this little book sitting on my kitchen counter.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's really cute. Would you mind if I showed it to my agent to get a little feedback for you? I was like, oh, that'd be fantastic. I've never talked to an agent before. And so he took it with him, and I didn't hear anything back. And a couple weeks later, my father-in-law called, and he's like, well, there was a little bit of a mix-up with my agent. Instead of just giving you some feedback, he sent it off to Arthur Levine at Scholastic.
Good.
So
that was a good mistake.
And I didn't even know who Arthur Levine was at the time. I was brand new. So I Googled Arthur Levine and found out that he's actually the U.S. editor for the Harry Potter series.
And this one doesn't have even the writing in it yet.
No, there's no words.
He just looked at this one.
They looked at that one. They said it was cute. And Arthur Levine passed on it, but he thought it was cute and thought maybe the Cartwheel division could do something with it. So they called me up and said, we really like it, but we want to put it in our Easy Reader series.
Yeah.
So can you put some words in there? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Sure, I could put words in.
So, yeah, I went back, I put some words in, and that is how I came the craziest way ever of being an author. Because people are like, oh, you've written a book, you're an author. I'm like, I'm not an author. I draw pictures. I don't write words. So it actually, even after that got published, it took me years before I would say I'm an author, because
Well, you know, when I was
pictures.
when my son was in first grade, they had an I Can Read program,
Mm-hmm.
and some of us mothers would go in if we had time. We'd sit in the hall, and they'd have the kids come out one by one, and you know those little easy readers, maybe one sentence. This reminds me of that,
Mm-hmm.
but with, you know, like you might have had like the one sentence, and I love it that it says on the first one that she wrote, "May I please have a cookie?" Alfie the alligator, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Level 1 reader, is that first grade or kindergarten nowadays?
yeah,
What-
they're really, it actually, because people say, how long did it take you to write your first book? And technically, to write the words, it took me an evening because the story was written in pictures already. So I just had to put a one sentence of what was in each picture.
You know what the urge I have when I see this one not colored in is to color it.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Now, again, we are talking with J.E. Morris, Jennifer. She is a children's author. She is doing the Maud the Koala series, Fish Are Not Afraid of Doctors, and Much Too Much Birthday. Too many people. And I can remember, I think I can relate to the feeling that Maud the Koala has. Sometimes if there's a family gathering that's too big, or if maybe there's been too much built up about it, I think it
Yeah.
can get anxiety for a child.
Oh.
When I
gosh,
turned
yes.
13, I don't know what the big deal was, but I was really nervous. I wasn't excited. I was nervous. I think my
Yeah.
mother had to send my best friend home because I made myself sick. I thought, oh my God, this is the end of the world. And it
Yeah.
wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't at all. But this, now how can people go ahead and get your books? How can they do this? Where can they reach?
Anywhere that books are sold, pretty much.
Dan Barnes and Noble?
Barnes and Noble, actually, I noticed most of the Barnes and Nobles are carrying Fish Are Not Afraid of Doctors in the store,
Okay.
in stock. But you can also order them online, Amazon, anywhere.
How about Tatnock? Are they over there too?
I don't know if they have them in stock at Tatnock, but I'm sure they can order
for
them.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you're going to be leaving a couple of them downstairs
Yes.
in our dedicated author's wall at the Upton Library. Don't be shy. Bring the kids in. These are terrific.
And I think they have Alfie the Alligator here.
Do they too? They
I
have
think
that too?
so. I think
Oh, I
so.
cherish these. When I saw these come in the mail and I saw the illustrations, I said, at first, I didn't realize that you had illustrated it. I thought you were the author, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, I'm like, they appeal to me as an adult. And I think more and more and more, I think if the adults are drawn to it, I can't explain it. When you're reading it to your child, you
Yeah.
know. I used to read to my son all the time. And some of his books I was just fascinated with.
Mhm.
Now, what's that other one? Captain Underpants?
Oh, yeah.
That went through a problem in the school, like, well, we're not so sure.
Yeah.
He loved it.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted. At
Right.
the Scholastic book fairs and everything. I didn't see
Absolutely.
anything bad about that. That was okay. But now, tell me, what is coming next in the series?
Well, these just came out, so we're gonna see how they do. I have a few other ideas for stories for Maud. I have another book coming out with a different publisher in the fall, so kind of focused on that at the moment. And actually, I have 2 more books coming out with Random House, Penguin, next year, but
Next-
in a different series. So,
How about Scholastic? Anything more for Scholastic?
talking about something.
That, I love, you know the book fairs they have.
Oh yeah.
I like going to those. They
Mhm.
also have a grown-up section.
Yep.
But I always used to love to bring my son with me, and it sounds funny, he should have been bringing me. But do you still go to them? I enjoy them.
I haven't been to them in a long time because my kids are older now, so I'm really not in touch with the people at the schools who.
I still go.
do
I don't.
them.
Obviously, my son is outgrown, but his little children would love anything I purchased through that bookstore. So, I mean, I'm already clued in as to what they might like.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll see once in a while, I'll see a grown-up like me alone coming in, maybe thinking about somebody in their family.
Oh.
I can just picture, now this wouldn't be, Maud the Koala wouldn't be Scholastic, right?
It's not published by Scholastic, but Scholastic sometimes, at least in, I don't know about the book fairs, but the book clubs sometimes do have books that are not published.
Now, you
Specifically
give
that.
presentations and book signings.
I do.
How can people reach you if they'd like you to come on board?
My website, jemorris.com, and you can get all my information on there, where I'm going to be, and
jemorris.com
that's
or jemorris@jemorris.com.
well, that's my email address, but
That's
my
okay.
website is
All
just
right.
jemorris.com.
Right, and you can and you can talk to her and
Yes.
see if where have you been appearing?
Not too many places, actually. I've been kind of heads down working. I went to a kids comic convention up in Nashua recently. I'm going to be at the Boston Comic Con, the fan expo in Boston in August. Because Maud is kind of comic-y and it is for younger kids, I thought we would kind of try having a table for little kid comics, because there are a lot of adults who are into comics, but they bring their small children, and a lot of the comics, unfortunately, are not kid-friendly. So
That's an interesting way of looking at it. When I looked at this, I didn't think of the word comic book so much as because I've seen, like I said, a lot of the young adult fantasy, I don't know, demons and things out there. You open it up, and most of us don't expect to see blocks of, but they're comic books. That's the style. But this is much more, this is higher end than a comic book, I think. Much more higher end.
it's because it has a hardcover.
Well, yeah, but the way it's done, the
Oh,
way and it's good that you're going because it gives the younger kids something, right?
Well, I hope it'll get Maud's name out there a little bit.
Yeah,
So
Maud's-
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in Sharon, Connecticut in a few weeks.
Where in Connecticut?
Sharon, Connecticut.
Oh.
There's a Meet the Authors event down there.
Where is Sharon?
That's a good question. It's on the New York border. It's way out on the other side.
Because I lived down in New Canaan and the Norwalk area in Stanford, but I don't remember a Sharon.
I think it's north of Danbury, like right on the New York border.
Way up there.
Yeah.
Okay, I was more down towards near New York City and Greenwich, Connecticut.
Yeah, we used to live near Hartford.
Okay,
We lived down
all
there,
right.
So yeah.
So that's quite a ways for you to travel.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
I
You'll
live,
go
in
anywhere.
I live in Lunenburg. I live in the middle of
You'll go
nowhere.
anywhere. Have you got anything coming up that we should know about?
Right now, I have the Boston Fan Expo coming up, and I do have something that is in the works at Toadstool bookstores. But,
Where's that?
Oh, up in Milford, New Hampshire. There's actually 3 of them. Milford,
Toadstool.
Toadstool, yeah, Keene, and where's the last one? Peterborough.
Are they children's bookstores?
No, they're independent bookstores. They're lovely little independent bookstores. There's just a chain of 3 of them. So
How did you hear about them, or how did they hear about you?
I'm actually going to be there with, actually, Milford, New Hampshire is the closest independent bookstore to where I live. There's not too, we have a Barnes and Nobles, but all the independents.
Well, you
have
should
kinda
be out
dried
here
up.
more. We've got an awful lot of places. Do you ever
Yeah.
go to libraries with the children's department?
I do sometimes. I haven't really pursued a lot of speaking engagements. It's just, I feel like I have enough energy to work on the books or market, and I'm really having a hard time kind of finding time for both sometimes.
Well, you got a 17-year-old ready to graduate next year?
Yeah, he's going to be a senior this year. Yeah.
Okay, so he's still with you. Does he know what he wants to do? Right, maybe?
No, he's an engineer through and through.
Okay.
He just started a job as an electrician's apprentice today, actually. He's
That's
first
great.
day on the job.
What's
so.
your daughter doing?
She's going to school for computer science right now.
Well, they took after you, didn't they?
They
Or is
did.
Dad the same way? Is very computer-minded?
I think I'm more the techie side, and the kids kind of picked up on
So
the
they picked
techie.
up on that. But you don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
someday.
Oh, my daughter's a fantastic writer. She's a fantastic writer. She's very good with languages, and she wants to do something with computers and language. At
When
some
you were
point.
back in school, Jennifer, did the teachers see any of this coming, your talent? Did they ever mark to your parents?
Oh, I mean, I did do a lot of art stuff in school,
Yeah.
and I did win an award in college for art.
Yeah. So you minored in art.
I did.
Minored in drawing or art history?
Oh, studio art,
Studio
definitely.
art.
I was not interested in art history. I was
wasn't either.
interested in doing, not learning about it.
We are talking with J.E., Jennifer Morris, and she is a children's author. She's from Lunenburg. Maud the Koala series. And Maud, too many people at this child's birthday party. Fish Are Not Afraid of Doctors. Love this one. All illustrated and written by Jennifer. And these are published by Penguin Workshop, but she's also, her first one was picked up by Scholastic. A lot of you parents out there on one of them. Whenever I saw the Scholastic label, and of course the Scholastic book fairs twice a year, loved them. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
They also send home, what are those, like little newspapers? The kids get them.
Yeah, the book clubs.
The book, yeah, and they have Scholastic books in those too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Was
that's
you-
been a 99-cent special a couple times.
When did
in
this
the
come
book clubs.
out, Jennifer?
2005, long
Oh, my
time
my
ago.
son just missed it. Okay, that he was 90 in the 90s. Okay.
Okay, yeah, long time ago. It's that book has sold. There's more than 1 million copies of that book in print now. It's been crazy.
You're overseas too, then with Amazon, right?
Yeah, actually, that book sells very well in China. May I please have a cookie?
China?
Yeah, they use it sometimes. I think they're using it to learn English. Because there's an adorable little girl on YouTube. She's in some sort of competition, and she's reading that book.
She was
aloud.
reading.
So cute. Yeah,
She
she's
was
so
reading
cute.
this. Now this one is soft cover.
Mhm.
Do you think most of them coming out now are going to be hard? Do you prefer that?
Oh, I don't have a whole lot of say in that sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
It kind of depends where they want to place it in their...
Well, what do you prefer?
Well, the hardcovers are nice.
Mhm.
I do like... I wasn't too sure when I first started out. You know, an easy reader, people are like, oh, it's just a mass market. It's just a mass market book. So, you know, it's not the same. You don't get the same treatment as a trade book
Yeah.
necessarily. But the price point is $4.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun for me because I can just hand those out kind of. It's here, have a book.
Well, you know, this is
So
the
it's
type
kinda
of
nice.
thing that I think first grade I would have read.
Mhm.
But nowadays, it's a little spooky. Some of them are reading in preschool. Isn't that
It's-
rushing it a little bit?
I think it's ridiculous, actually.
Yeah.
I really do. And I feel bad because I think kids are getting pushed out of picture books faster than maybe they would otherwise be.
And you know what they're doing? Oh, this constantly.
Well, there's that, and I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of competition between the parents. Oh, well, my child's reading chapter books.
I've heard this
And I
since my son was
think
little.
it- yeah.
Oh, well, mine is. I'll tell you a story. When my son was in first grade and I was doing the I Can Read program, I would take some time and go up and help his first grade teacher sit out in the. She'd send the kids to me, and we'd have those little books.
Yeah.
One little boy came along. He zipped right through it.
Mhm.
And I knew, my God, my son isn't anywhere near this. Do you know, I went home absolutely depressed. I took
Yeah.
it seriously, and I shouldn't
Yeah.
have. I remember saying to my husband, oh my God, do we need to get him a tutor? I mean,
Yeah.
because reading is big to me.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh my God, no.
No.
That was perfectly normal. Come to find out, this little dude had 2 older brothers who had coached him.
Mhm.
But I took it very seriously. Maybe some other
Yeah.
parents did too. Don't compare your child with others.
No, it's and I somebody likened it to when they learn to walk.
Yeah.
They all learn to walk by a certain age.
Yeah.
You know, some of them walk when they're 6 months old, some of them walk when they're 18 months old, but they all get there eventually.
Yeah.
And my daughter was like that. My daughter could read Harry Potter in kindergarten. That was just her. My son couldn't. But
Yeah.
by second grade, it all kind of balanced out.
Yeah. I mean, I took it
So-
very seriously. Went
Yeah.
home very worried.
Mhm.
Worried. But, you know, this is the type of thing. I remember the adorable Scholastic books. You're not going to stop doing Scholastic, right? Because this is perfect.
Well, you have to talk to Scholastic about that.
You're right up. You know, this is for those little guys coming up. Love it. And then just maybe, what level would you say these are? Your koala.
Oh, they're definitely meant for that same age range, like 4 years old up to about first, second grade.
4 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But like I can imagine, boy, am I going to date myself? But they were around for a while. Remember Dick and Jane?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know they're still out there?
Yes, they are.
I remember I didn't have any trouble reading. I don't know, I just sailed right through it. But I
Yeah.
know a lot of children. I think my son are boys slower, do you think, at reading? Or just depends on where they are?
I think they have a hard time sitting still sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I remember, to this day, I remember sitting in first grade in the little group.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us all having to read.
Yep.
Do you go to, I was just thinking, this would be wonderful if you could get over to the children's units at hospitals. Do you ever do that?
I haven't yet, but I am going to be donating some of the Fish Are Not Afraid of Doctors books to MGH when I go down in a
How
couple
about
weeks.
UMass Memorial? they'd love it. They have
Yeah.
a separate children's hospital within.
Oh, fantastic.
You
Yeah, I
would-
don't have a contact there, but I
Oh,
could
they would
find-
love it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I volunteered over there, and
Oh, great.
yeah, they. It's, you know, if you don't want to go into Boston and to that children's hospital, you can go right to Worcester, and they have a children's hospital within the huge medical
Yeah.
center. So it's dedicated. But I'm thinking right off. I know Milford no longer has an in-house pediatric,
Mm.
so I guess that wouldn't be right. But of course, there's Metro West and there's Harrington. There's so
Yeah,
many.
There's a ton.
So we're going to wind this up again. How can they get your books, Jennifer?
You can get them anywhere. Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, your independent bookstores may have them in stock, or they can definitely order them. And I have tons of books, so
Yeah.
check me out on Amazon. There, you'll find all my books there. I've got about 15 actually in print. So
And she made this koala bear. And you have not been to Australia.
no.
What made you think of a koala bear?
Oh, because I like the ears.
Oh.
She started out as a pig, but there were so many pigs out there, and I just like the ears.
And she sewed this. Did you know going in how to do it? Did you, or just went as you went?
Oh Lord, no! There was a lot of iterations.
This is adorable. Do the children, do you sell these? You don't sell them yet, right?
No.
Would that be cool to
I
sell
don't want to
them?
start a sweatshop in my
No, but
in
I
my
mean
house
selling it
organized.
with the books or something as a gift for children.
Well,
Oh,
we'll see.
I think
Maybe.
that would be great. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, and let me know when you got the next one coming out,
Fantastic.
and we'll do that, and we'll see you next time. I'll be my guest.